We're pretty excited. We add today Raúl Ruidíaz, a guy who's scored over 100 career goals, 6 consecutive seasons of averaging 15 goals or more. He's been a champion in Peru. He's been a champion in Chile. He's been made the playoffs consistently in Mexico, and I think he's going to help lead us to the playoffs. 2 of the last 3 summers, we've added franchise-level players now, Nicolas Ladero and Raúl Ruidíaz, and we're going to build our club around them for the next couple of years.
How hard was it to deal with a MX team in that regard?
I mean, these negotiations on this level are never easy. They're never straightforward. They always take time. There was always a lot of details. So Morelia has obviously sent a player to Portland recently, so they were familiar with how MLS did deals. And so I have nothing personal or particular to that. Just these deals are tricky, and we were fortunate enough to get it done.
How long were you working on the deal and what scouting him?
Look, players like this, I mean, when we say how long, we've been watching them for 2 years, but I mean, that's just any high-profile forward in the CONMEBOL, CONCACAF, you just see them play all the time. So we honed in. Chris Henderson went to a Peruvian national team camp back at some point in the early spring. And was watching not just Ruidiaz, but a couple other guys that we were taking a look at. And so he got to see him up close and personal on a day-to-day training basis then. And certainly that jumped him forward in our evaluation.
Garth, you wanted him. What is it that he wanted to bring to the team, when you're talking to him?
Well, look, I'll say this about him. This is a guy just finished at the World Cup, just had a disappointing campaign for what could have been a really good Peruvian team. Probably disappointed he didn't play every game. And he took a flight the night of the game from that they were eliminated from Sochi to Moscow to Seattle. And he got here not in 24 hours, but pretty close to begin the visa process to try to get himself eligible for July 15th. So this is a guy that's highly motivated. He wants to be here. He's just proven that. And when you sit and you talk to him, this is a guy he's got some fire in the belly. He's got some desire, and we are really excited to add his character and his personality as well as his talent.
Why did he want to come to Seattle? Those are all great intangibles. Why did he say he wanted to come to Seattle, not Portland? If that was in the mix, I'm not saying it's in the mix, but
sure.
Why did he say I want to go to Seattle because this?
Sure. Look, I mean, anybody who in pro sports who tells you it's not about the money is fibbing a little bit. So, certainly we offered him a nice salary, and I think that's probably part of it. What he tells us is there are things like the American dream. So, he's got little kids, and so he wants to take his family to a place where he thinks that they can grow up. And, you can ask him about that, more about the personal family stuff, but certainly a part of it was, is this a place that he can stay for a while and live safely and live comfortably and have a good life, not just for him, but for his children. And we get that all the time. So, I mean, when we get down on the United States, sometimes you talk to these guys, it's pretty inspiring sometimes.
The Northwest setting itself, obviously the stadium and all those things, and with the fan base, had to be an alluring thing for him to want to be part of.
For any athlete, certainly for Raul, look, our fans are our strength. We know that. To play in front of 40,000 every week is an honor and a privilege, and I'm sure Raul appreciates that and sees it the same way. And look, we got a little surprise for him this weekend, so we'll see how that plays out. But I think he may appreciate it even more.
When you signed Nico Ladero, you called him a force amplifier. I don't know if there's a phrase that you might use to describe Ruidiaz means to this team.
It was force amplifier as catchy as vertical integration when we started our player development. I don't know if I have any good corporate speak for this one. What I would say though is that we had when we brought Ladero in, we hadn't had a central midfielder that we could really play through in a traditional sense. And so when he was a force amplifier, I said I meant that literally, that he would literally get the ball and amplify all the players around him, and I think that worked. This is, to some degree, providing a finishing connection to the circuit. We have all the pieces. We have the chance creation. We have a solid defense. What we need is an elite finisher. And certainly that need was magnified when Jordan went out. And we haven't had that truly elite finisher in a while, probably since Ova left. And so now you have this ability now to have, if you want to put a team on a blank piece of canvas and start drawing, you got an elite playmaker and you got an elite goal scorer. That's a pretty good foundation to start around, especially when you have the pieces that we have in terms of supporting those guys.
And you said you wanted to build around those two guys specifically for the next couple of years. Do you expect Nico to be around for multiple more seasons as well?
Nico's under contract through 2021.
And how long is the contract with Raúl Ruidíaz?
Through 2022.
With the way the team's going right now, though, how hard is it to have him available until July 15th?
You know, I think some of this is we got to start believing in ourselves again, man. It's a team that went to the finals back-to-back years. We won the title 2 years ago. You know, I've never lost faith in this roster. I think we started the year banged up. We've talked about how tough it was from the quick turnaround to play Champions League. But, you know, we started in the last, for the last month, we've been starting north of 8 or 9 guys that have started in and won playoff games in the last 12 months. So I just don't buy this narrative that suddenly we went from a championship team to a team that can't compete. I think it's about, again, believing in ourselves. And we got a rivalry game that everybody's going to be up for this weekend and should be a lot of fun. And hopefully we can get us back on the right path. And what I think introducing Raul now may do is may remind us, just give us that little bit of spark like, hey, we remember we're really good. Like, we just got to put this together on the field and play together a little bit. So that's what we're hoping for.
You mentioned how he came from Russia within almost 24 hours here to get that visa process started. Do you anticipate anything else, any other hiccups that could make it so he wouldn't be able to play in Atlanta on the 15th?
Sure. I mean, the visa process is a federal government immigration process, and we have zero control over that. So, you know, certainly we will do everything we can, and we've done it by Raul getting here. We've maximized our chances, but it is absolutely out of our control as to whether or not that happens.
But no other issues other than that in terms of...
Correct.
Do you feel like this skill set that he has is kind of the one missing link that you guys have needed, or do you think you're going to need more reinforcements as well?
Still looking to sign potentially a second player, but this was, if you said what we were lacking, we needed an elite goal scorer, and we've added that. And again, with the 4, 5, 6 chance-creating midfielders we have and the way we play, we want to keep the ball on the ground. This is a guy who can score, and he can score. Raul can score any kind of goal. He can score with his head. He can score with his left. He can score with his right. He's awesome at finding these little pockets of space. You know, when we're playing well, the tactic employed against us most often is that team's bunker, and they set up in 2 blocks of 4, and we've struggled to break them down. With a player like Raul, who can get into those spaces and score goals, that solves what was our Achilles heel once we get back to full strength.
Where would you rank this signing in your perspective in regards to importance and money and kind of his record coming into the league?
You know, I think it's comparable or in the same class with. I mean, the Sounders have made some massive signings, right? I mean, this is definitely a statement of intent that we're still a big club. You know, and if you look at the Martin signing and the Dempsey signing and the Ladero signing, I think this is in a class with those signings. I think in terms of impact on the team, I think in terms of economic cost, investment by the ownership, I think that they're all comparable in the same class of player, and I think all of those players were excellent for the Sounders over a number of seasons because, you know, these players, and I know Oba was an exception to it, but that was a very unusual transfer from what I understand, and these types of franchise level players are available in the summer, and you can want them to be available before then, but they aren't. So hopefully Raul comes in and justifies the long-term decision that we made in terms of solidifying our franchise for a number of years in the future.